All right, the last matter is Mills versus Mills. My clerk is speaking to me a minute, just a moment. All right, I think I need to address one issue, which is Mr. Mills has filed a notice of disqualification against me after the last hearing. And that doesn't exclude me at this point for two reasons. One is a notice of disqualification needs to be filed before a judicial officer makes a discretionary decision. And I did make discretionary decisions on March 22nd, and the morning of March 29th, the disqualification was filed at 4:30 on March 29th. Secondly, I'm a court commissioner, and the notice of disqualification doesn't apply to commissioners. What Mr. Mills can do at any point, although you have to do it within 10 days of a decision, is you can ask one of the judges or make a motion for a revision, again, within 10 days of a decision. And then one of the judges can review what I've done and determine if I made the right decision. So those are the options that are available for right now. I'm going to remain involved in this case. We're here today for a review by the guardian ad litem. I think it's a preliminary review. Let me hear from Ms. Day, and then I'll go to Ms. Mills and then Mr. Mills for any comments.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Yes.
I have had an opportunity to meet with both the parents and do their home visits. I've talked with Ms. Mills' new partner, and I've also talked with the visit supervisor. And so I think things are going along fairly well. In the previous hearing, you had addressed the fees for Ms. Mills, which will be county paid. Mr. Mills has made payment arrangements with me. And so I think that is moving along as appropriately as it could. My recommendation at this time would be to go ahead and move forward with visitation unsupervised under the same one overnight on the weekend as it currently is, but it does not need to be supervised. The visits are going well. There's no outward concerns that I can find. There are lots of allegations in this case, but nothing that I'm able to substantiate that is anything more significant than what we typically see when parties end a long relationship and children are involved. There's no harm to these children. The father's engaged. He's been actively involved. I've been to his home. The home is safe and appropriate. And the visit supervisor expressed no concerns about father having overnights unsupervised. So that would be my request at this point in time. And then I will continue to move forward and hopefully complete my report within the next probably 40 to 60 days at the most.
Ms. Mills, any comment?
Well, I had a few notes for today. The unsupervised is very concerning to me still, even just from, 7 years I've been with this man. I had spoken to Angela, the supervisor, and she said that Sam is so angry. She no longer wants to be the supervisor. And I was going to bring that up at the next hearing, but I figured today wouldn't hurt to bring it up. She said she has no relationship with him, no conversations outside of the visitation. And I don't really feel like they were really being supervised at her house. She has quite a big property. And I believe most of the time was spent at the back end of the property or away from Angela really supervising aside from meal times. So that's my concern.
All right, thank you.
I also
overnight visits right now are Friday night to Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I also would love to see him in anger management. I had spoken to Tina Day about DV counseling, which I think is so important for Samuel moving forward and, future relationships that will involve my children, and a parenting class. I think those things are all very necessary for him.
All right, Mr. Mills, any response?
Yeah, I have no idea what she's talking about. I do believe that she isn't after the best interest of the children. Her intent is to make my life as hard as possible. I'm not an angry person. We had a bad relationship. She pushed my buttons, I pushed hers, and it was not a good relationship. But I I don't know what she's talking about with anger and my sister. I'm never angry towards my sister. I'm always very friendly and civil with my sister. I do have a relationship with my sister. I have no idea where she's getting this from. And Rebecca's goal in all this is just to make sure that she can take as much from me as possible, including my children. Like, she's walked away, taken my kids, and she's hoping to leave me with all the debt. She wants me to pay for the car, pay for the insurance, pay for child support. She moved in with her new boyfriend, and she doesn't work. There's no reason she can't work. She filed for welfare, and then I have the welfare office coming after me for child support when we had decided to hold off until custody was determined. She is just doing everything in her power to make sure that I'm miserable, regardless of how it affects the children. My supervised visits with the kids and even the phone calls, my kids ask me when they can come home. My last, on not even my last, every time I'm with my kids, my 3-year-old never leaves my side, and he constantly says, I love you, I love you. And he was sitting on my lap for 30 minutes and just kept saying, you're my daddy, you're my daddy. They love me. They are of no harm. I don't know why she's doing this. I mean, it just seems like her only goal in this is vengeance and just destroying my life, regardless of how it affects our children.
All right.
And as Tina Day discussed with me, is she would attempt to get Rebecca to sign an agreement where I could pick my kids up Friday evening and keep them through Sunday, and then have one night a week during the week to have my kids in the evening, which I want my kids full time, but that's worlds better than these supervised visits. And I want an equal opportunity to prove myself that I can raise my children, and I feel like I've been denied that. I I have filed my response. I refiled my response to her harassment report showing her behaviors towards me. Me and her had agreed to be civil, and then once she finally got moved into her new boyfriend's, that's when she went from being civil with me, which she wasn't even being civil with me. She was messaging me almost daily, telling me every time they had sex, describing it. When she would come over to the house, she would tell me the sexual acts they were doing. And she had sent me pictures of her naked in his bed saying, oh, we just had sex and we're having sex again tonight when he comes home. I have filed this evidence.
Okay,
She's,
thank you. I've looked at this case a bit before the hearing today. I made some decisions early on for supervised visits until I could get some feedback from the guardian ad litem. And that was based on what were concerning texts from Mr. Mills to Ms. Mills. But even prior to hearing from the guardian ad litem today, it was clear to me that while Mr. Mills and Ms. Mills were having certain difficulties in their relationship, it does not appear that spills over into either of their relationships with the two boys. And that's confirmed today now by the guardian ad litem, saying that it would be appropriate to go to unsupervised visits. The schedule that Mr. Mills indicated may be one that works down the road in the near future. But for right now, I would like to have unsupervised visits. So that would be from Friday the 14th to Saturday the 15th. I believe it's 6 o'clock when it ends. And then Friday the 21st to Saturday the 22nd, Friday the 28th to Saturday the 29th. And then we will get together again on May 3rd to address a number of financial and other issues. And one of those issues will be, how are those unsupervised visits going? And should it go from Friday to Sunday? And should there be a midweek visit? And everybody can weigh in on that. But for right now, I'm going to order that the current visitation that was supervised just now can be unsupervised and can be at Mr. Mills' house. Okay.
Your Honor, can I make a comment?
Yes, please.
The only reason it was Friday and Saturday was because of my sister's church schedule. Saturday and Sunday would be more ideal for me.
Okay. Ms. Mills, any comment on moving it to Saturday to Sunday?
No, I do think that it will be kind of a shock to go from every other weekend now to every single weekend.
I think I'd
Your
like to
Honor.
do that, though. I think Mr. Mills has spent some time away from his sons, and I think for the next 3 weeks anyway, I'd like to see that. It will be adjusted. I suspect I'm going to make some adjustments on May 3rd, but for the next 3 weeks, I'd like to see every weekend. So if Saturday at what was the beginning time should be, let's say 10 o'clock to Sunday at 6. That will then be Saturday, Sunday for the next 3 weeks.
Um,
And
Thank you, Your Honor.
long term, I don't intend to take the children away from you every weekend, Ms. Mills. I don't think that's appropriate, but I do want Mr. Mills to see them this month. Go ahead.
Can I add? Are we just not going to address anger management, DV counseling? I mean, testing for this. You have seen
That will be addressed by Ms. Day.
I've provided my
she
evidence.
That's her report.
I'm so concerned. I don't feel good about this in the least.
I understand that, but again, Ms. Day is saying,
He's left needles on the floor, Your Honor.
and
Bathroom that my children use.
what I see is that you and Mr. Mills have had a difficult relationship, but I don't think that spills over into either of your relationships with your sons. So,
And I will address those things in my
the
report,
next-
Your Honor, absolutely.
the next 3 weeks, Saturday to Sunday, will be unsupervised with Mr. Mills. Okay. All right.
Your Honor, I just have some things I need to bring up, if I may.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't like going through her new boyfriend to talk to my children. I don't think that is right. He's not their father, I'm their father. And I'm okay with a parenting app. I just don't want to go through her boyfriend.
And I would agree, Your Honor, it's more appropriate for them to use like something like Our Family Wizard or some other type of a parenting app when they need to communicate about the children. They should not be really communicating about the other things, and obviously the harassing or inappropriate texting should not be occurring, but it shouldn't be required for him to discuss decisions about the children with mother's newest boyfriend.
Everything is run by me. He's not responding to these on his own. I'm telling him what to say and he's reading the text to me. I would prefer no contact between the two of us. Even on a nap.
I'm gonna leave Robert in place as the person to communicate through until we get to May 3rd, which is our next date together. And then I'll address that in, we'll look at how things are going at that point, okay?
I have just one last thing, Your Honor, that is affecting my current life.
Okay, go ahead.
She still has my Kia, which her boyfriend just bought a new car for her, and the bank restricted my account on Monday because of the delinquent payments. And I need her to make those payments or give the car back.
Ms. Mills, any response?
He's my boyfriend. He bought a vehicle. That's not my vehicle.
Well, it seems to me we have to have one or the other. If you want to keep the Kia, you've got to make the payments.
It's sitting in her lot and she drives the new car.
I thought that we were waiting for financials to hear back on the Kia, was my understanding.
Say that one more time, I'm sorry.
At the last hearing, I was told that we were waiting on financial information from Samuel Mills to make a decision on the Kia.
I have filed those, Your Honor.
He has always paid for it. I think that he should provide a vehicle for his children. He always has.
The point of this is it's not being used. She has a new vehicle provided to her. And it is affecting my ability to live. I couldn't access my debit card and I had to call the bank and get that restriction lifted. But that's only a temporary lift. I cannot afford that car. If she would like to hang on to that car, I need her to pay for it.
Okay. My recollection is we were going to handle this on May 3rd when we got together and dealt with all of the financial issues. So I think I'm going to have to put this over to then. Thank you for bringing it up now. But I'm going to have to make the decision on it on May 3rd. And it will be one of the issues we determine. All right. Anything else? Doesn't sound like it. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Everyone, and we'll see you back here in about 3 weeks. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So let's go to Samuel Mills and Rebecca Mills. Let me get my notes here. All right, in the Mills matter, I want to check in on the visits that I ordered, and then we have to make a decision about the vehicle. And Mr. Mills has filed a declaration requesting full custody. I think I want to go to Ms. Day first, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have had contact with both parents and I've been able to observe Dad's visits in part, obviously not the whole visit. And I haven't found any concerns. I don't have any concerns about his visitation with the boys. The home is clean and appropriate. The children are bonded to him. They seek him out. He meets their needs. And I don't have any concerns about that. I think the visitation should continue. I wouldn't have any objection to that being Friday to Sunday, provided Dad is not working. If Dad is working, I think it should remain Saturday to Sunday. I know there's been some discussion between the parents about that when dad had to work for a little bit on Saturday. And he asked the children to be dropped off at their regular time with his sister. And I don't have any objection to that. That's perfectly fine. The children know the aunt, and I think that's appropriate. I was able, yesterday I received the CPS reports that I've been waiting on. Those do indicate a very past history of domestic violence. So I think it's appropriate for an anger evaluation to occur within the next 60 to 90 days for father, just so that I have that information and if there's anything that needs to be done. It is old history, but those do line up with some of the allegations that mother has made. The difference being that it was like almost 5 years ago, 4 years ago. So it's not a recent history, but I think that alleviates kind of that accusation and kind of addresses that. Do you have any questions, Your Honor?
Not right now. I probably will in a moment. Mr. Mills, let me hear from you next.
Well, I mean, you read my declaration. I don't believe Rebecca is very emotionally stable. She makes very rash decisions and is impulsive. She has defamed me. She has lied. She has embellished on her declarations. She's doing everything she can to make this case something it's not. This is just a divorce where two parents didn't get along. We have had our problems and it is time for us to move on, but she shouldn't be using the children as a weapon to hurt me. I mean, she met a new boyfriend and within 2 weeks was trying to take the kids and all their presents to his house on Christmas Eve, to have Christmas Eve there and Christmas morning. That's not appropriate. She just met this guy online and within not even 2 weeks was trying to do that. She's trying everything she can to remove me from their lives and have this new life with her new boyfriend as the new dad. She's had those multiple motions for reconsideration when the children are in no harm's way. She's gotten the kids on state health insurance when I have excellent health care, but she has failed to provide me with the birth certificates that she took. She claims to have lost them every time I have asked, but they got to be somewhere. She was able to apply for welfare. She was able to get them on health or on the state health insurance. And the photos that she submitted saying that I beat her were me defending myself. They're small bruises of me grabbing her to stop her from hitting me, and she's held on to them for years to use as blackmail. And she's doing everything she said she would. Every time I've brought up before in the past that I wanted a divorce, this is basically what she said she would do. She said she has all this evidence of that saying, who are they going to believe, big you or little me? There's no marks on me. You have no photos of marks on you. And this is just not what she's making it out to be. I do work for a living. That does complicate things with the children. However, I do have adequate childcare with my family. The kids will never be watched by anyone that isn't their family. And I do work for a living. Rebecca is entitled. She's applied for welfare when her new boyfriend pays for everything she has. She is a licensed cosmetologist. She can work. She's able to work. But she's just trying to manipulate the state and manipulate this divorce hearing and just to get her way.
All right, thank you. Ms. Mills?
Hi. Is it my turn to talk?
Yes.
I think that Sam uses a lot of not very kind descriptive language like manipulative, liar, which is harmful. I don't know what exactly I have manipulated or lied about. I do know that in Samuel's very first filing, when he asked for full custody, that is the first time I have ever heard him speak any negativity towards me as a mother. It's the only time he has ever spoken about full custody. And the only reason that he filed that temporary order in the first place was because I found evidence of drug use in his home where my children could easily, I mean, there was a morphine 30 milligram pill in a plastic baggie. My children could have easily grabbed that. He has SARMs, if you know what that is. It's basically like legal, not for human consumption steroids, estrogen blockers, things like that on his nightstand where my children can just untwist the cap and take it. Those are not locked in a safe place. That is a huge concern. The only reason he asked for full custody was, I believe that that was a vindictive attack on me. He's never expressed a want for full custody or even 50-50. Previously, yeah, we have had a tumultuous relationship. And every time Samuel left, he would leave once a month, which I'm sorry, that is unstable for the children. That's a pattern of his, leaving once every month for nights, days, blocking me, providing no financial support, totally neglecting the children and leaving them in my care. And he would say, oh, I just want them on my days off, and I'll get it. I just want them on my days off. So I think that him asking for full custody is not being truthful. I think that during his visits, his mother has been there. I mean, almost for the entirety of the visits. My kids come home and they share it. And I know from experience that when grandma's there, it's an experience. She makes them breakfast, she entertains them, she takes care of them, and which is great from a child's perspective. But his mother was abusive to Samuel as a child and neglectful, which is very concerning that now she is almost taking the lead in his parenting time. And also that he's asking for full custody. And then in his latest declaration, he's backpedaling and saying, I am asking for custody or at least equal time. So he's already backpedaling. He doesn't want full custody. He's never wanted full custody. This is an attack on me through the children. He can't even handle the 2 days a week right now without his mom being there or relying on a babysitter.
May I respond to that, Your Honor?
I'm losing time with my children to
Let's
leave.
let Ms. Mills finish. Go ahead.
I'm losing time with my kids so that they can be with a babysitter. If it's family or not, I'm losing time. He's not missing any time with them. I'm the one losing time.
Okay. Mr. Mills, briefly, and then I want to go back to Ms. Dane.
To address the at least halftime, that's just because I understand that in these circumstances, the father getting full custody is very rare. And I just want as much time with my children as possible. And referencing my mother coming over, my mother comes over for a few hours because she misses the kids. She's not taking the lead. I'm not sitting back and doing nothing. We're engaging with the kids. She comes over to see them because she hasn't seen them very much these past few months.
Ms. Day, have you observed Mr. Mills' mother being present when you were at his house?
So when I did the drop-in visit, it was a drop-in visit. It was unannounced. Mr. Mills' new girlfriend was there, and I thought it was her mother, but maybe it was his mother. They were there, but the children were not engaging with them. The children were engaging with dad. They were playing with him. He was reading to them. They were in the kitchen doing their own thing. So I did not observe that somebody else was taking the lead in this. I would point out to the court that both of these parents have moved on relatively quickly to new partners and introduced these very young children to new partners, new living circumstances, all the way around. That is where I see the instability. I don't see the instability in any other situation that they are not both equally culpable in. And I've been very frank with both parties about that. Children are very impacted by these sudden changes and then these new partners that are involved. Both of these parents have some pretty strong emotional feelings right now, and I understand that. But there's nothing that I have found so far that would tell me that either parent is not able to parent their children during their time. I think father should have residential time. I think mom should have residential time. I don't think there's any reason that the paternal family cannot provide care if father has to work during a small portion of that time just for continuity. I don't see any concerns with that. I don't find that. I also don't find anything that would concern me to the level of drug use and drug abuse going on in father's home. I've been walked through his home on a couple of occasions now. I've not seen anything present in his life, in his person, or in the home that would give me that concern.
Do you work Friday nights, Mr. Mills?
I work Friday during the day. So my work schedule is Monday through Friday, and then I occasionally have a Saturday shift, which tends to be a shorter shift, but it's because I work construction. And it's just if there's work to be done. So that those Saturdays aren't guaranteed.
What time do you typically get home on Friday?
Around 5:30.
Okay. I think I said this before. I think you're both good parents, and the concern is you don't get along with each other. But I've read, you both have written things that impugn your ability to be a parent. That is completely disputed by Ms. Day, who says both of you are fine. And that's what I'm going to accept. I think you both love your kids. You just have the issue with each other. We may get to an equal time with the children, but I think we're a couple steps away from that at this point. I'm going to expand the visitation from Friday at 6 or 6:30, whenever you can pick up the children, until Sunday. And I don't know when we ended it on Sunday, but whatever the end time is.
6, Your Honor.
All right, to 6 on Sunday. So I'm going to expand it to that. And I think I'm going to leave that for a couple months. And then we'll look at it, and then we're going to have to make some adjustments. I don't think it's appropriate permanently that the father get all the weekends and the mother get no weekends. I think that needs to be shared. But right now, I want to make sure that the children are spending time with their father. So I am going to order every Friday through Sunday.
And I hope to have my report done within 30 to 40 days at the most. So once that's prepared, then I think it would be appropriate to see where things are at.
2 months from now would be, let's say, the end of June. So that would be June 28th. That's when we should be back. All right. The other issue, I think, is we were going to address, I think it was a Kia automobile that Ms. Mills wanted to use, and she wanted Mr. Mills to pay for. And if I'll start with Ms. Mills, if you want to address that issue, and then I'll have Mr. Mills address it. If you could do it fairly quickly, I'm running over on this docket already. So go ahead.
I'm sorry. Can we backpedal just briefly? I am so concerned as to why we have completely skipped over Sam's use of illegal substances. He's been arrested for that and didn't learn his lesson at all. Why are we not looking into that at all?
Ms. Day has been to the house. She's observed Mr. Mills. She has not brought any concerns to the court's attention. So it has not been ignored, but it does not appear to be an issue right now.
And we can't do a drug test just for the safety of my kids and peace of mind. If he does not have a drug issue, then it should come back clean, right? And then I'll feel better about my kids. We can move past that.
Let me ask Ms. Day, any response to that?
I don't have any objection to father providing a hair follicle test that would verify that he's been remained clean and sober for the last 90 days, or clean. I'm there's not an issue with alcohol that I'm aware of. But I just haven't seen anything that would lead me to that. Generally, that kind of information isn't just taken off of one person's report. I realize that he has a prior conviction. That's quite some time ago. I don't see any evidence of drug use currently, and I would obviously continue investigating that and bring that to the court's attention if I had any concerns between now and the time that we finish this case. So I have no objection, but I don't have a reason for
I'll
requesting.
handle it this way. I'll have Mr. Mills do a hair follicle test. If it comes back positive, well, he'll have to initially pay for it. If it comes back positive, he will pay for it. If it comes back negative, Ms. Mills will pay for it. And if she's not able to pay for it, then it will be a credit towards any kind of payment Mr. Mills makes. Also, Ms. Day indicated she wanted to have an anger management evaluation in the next 60 to 90 days. And I'm sorry, I skipped over that. I think that does make sense given, I guess, the remote history. So I will order that also.
And I have a question. We had talked about domestic violence counseling where I would go in and talk about my experiences, and then they would counsel him according to that, which I think it's so important to do that for him in his future relationships. And the fact that he has moved on, I know I have too, but the fact that there is another woman in a relationship around my children, I think that DV counseling, even over anger management.
I'm going to go with the anger management evaluation, and we'll see where that goes. Okay. Do you want to address the Kia?
Yeah, I have driven that vehicle since we got it, I believe in 2019. Samuel has always paid for it, and he has always said, like I said, we've had a tumultuous relationship, and every time we've thought, oh, we're going to divorce, he has always said, oh, you'll always have a vehicle. You'll always have I'll make sure you always have a car, until I moved on with someone else. And then it was, give me my car back. I need the car back. I'm not paying for it. Which I think is just vindictive. I do have children that need to be driven around, and he has always paid for it. And I think he should continue to. He took the insurance off of it. He says that he didn't, but his car is insured still. So mine was removed from insurance. I've had to pay for a flat tire. I've had to pay for the registration on the car. And currently it has a dead battery that I haven't addressed because I haven't known who it would go to. And I can't afford to keep paying on this car if I don't know if I'm going to be keeping it.
Mr. Mills.
So her boyfriend just bought her a new car. Every single time we've done the pickups, she's not driving that car. She's driving the new car that was bought for her. The reason there's no insurance on it is because the insurance lapsed because I couldn't pay for it. And I can't even pay, I can't pay for it now. I can't pay for that insurance. I can't pay for the car now. Financially, things used to be different. I used to bring home more money. I don't bring home as much now. And also, I was able to pay for that because she paid other bills. And so she's saying, I always paid for the car, so I have to pay for it. Well, she always paid for my other bills. Is she going to keep paying for those?
All right, I'm going to allow the Kia to go to Ms. Mills, but she will be responsible for the payment on it. So both the car payment and insurance and whatever maintenance.
It is
Her
behind 2 months right now, Your Honor. So I need 2 payments for it.
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
There are 2 payments due for that car.
Okay.
And I have a question. I can't afford car payments. If I did, I would go out and get car payments. So I know that in the past, Samuel has talked about just turning it back into the bank. He tacked on a $5,000 loan onto that car loan. So if he's not going to be the one paying for it, then I don't want it.
All right. Well, that's a choice. If you want it, then you'll need to pay
Your
the
Honor,
payments. If you
she
don't want to
only
make
wants it if I'm going to pay
then
for
you
it.
can leave the Kia with Mr. Mills.
Okay. Can I have a couple of days to get that back to him, or how does that work?
Yeah, you have it now. Let's get it back to him by Sunday, okay?
And I also want to state that my boyfriend bought himself a new car. He didn't buy me a car.
Okay. All right, I think those are the issues for today.
Your Honor, I
Yes.
just have a couple things I want to bring up now to be addressed at a different hearing. If I may,
Go ahead.
we have accumulated $5,000 in credit card debt. I'd like for her to pay her half of that.
Okay, just a minute. Before we go into all of that, well, if we want to handle more property issues on a temporary basis, I'm going to have to set another hearing. I can't address those today
Okay.
because I haven't read anything about it. I was here to adjust visitation and the car.
All right.
That's what's before us today. Do you want me to set a hearing in a couple weeks to address other issues?
Please, but I have one that's really simple. I just need her to remove herself from the PUD. She is the primary person for the PUD. And when I asked her to do it, she said it's not her problem for me to deal with it. So I am not the primary on my own electric bill. And she refused to give me any of the login information. I was eventually able to get new login information, but she's still the primary and can go in and change it anytime.
All right, all of those issues I'm gonna have to put over. And I'm gonna do 3 weeks. And Mr. Mills, I want you to file a declaration listing all of those additional issues and what you'd like to see happen. You need to do that in like a week and a half. Give it to Ms. Mills so she has a chance to respond. All right, and we'll come back here on May 31. And we'll
That's to address finances only.
yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Thank you both.
Thank you.